Hey everyone, so this is a tutorial on how to beat the Professional Escape achievement in Super Metroid. So there is already a tutorial created by the achievement author, but the thing about that tutorial is that it doesn't really explain how he's doing it. It just kind of shows the footage, so you can try to copy him, but it's helpful, but it's not as good as a full explanation, I think. And on top of that, there are a couple strategies that I know of that weren't being used in that tutorial that I think are better than what was used in that tutorial. So hopefully I can share that and make things a little bit easier for you. For the uninitiated, the goal of this particular achievement is to complete the escape sequence in Super Metroid in under a minute. So the idea is that you would have over 2 minutes left on the in-game timer. This is measured by in-game time, so you don't have to worry about like lag reduction. Not that I would get into that anyways. Partly because I'm not a speedrunner and I don't know anything about lag reduction. So, I mean, the fact that I'm not a speedrunner has its pros and cons because, I mean, maybe I'm missing some obvious time saves, or maybe I'm gonna have some inaccuracies in my explanations of what to do, that sort of thing. But on the other hand, it means that, I mean, if I can do it, obviously you can do it too. I've only put a couple of hours into this. I'm not an expert by any means. I haven't been playing this game since I was a kid. So if I can do it, you can hopefully copy what I'm doing here. So the strats I'm about to show you can get about a 206 or a 207 left on the clock, which is more than enough. You have plenty of leeway to make a mistake. If you flub a jump, you miss something, or if you want to take a safety strat because you don't like wall jumping all that much, that sort of thing. You've got the leeway to do all those sorts of things. You only need to not make significant mistakes and not make a lot of mistakes. So what I would say first off is don't be too proud to use save states to practice. At least in my opinion, you're not really proving anything by doing the practice without save states. And personally, I just find it makes it more fun and less frustrating, because if you have to go through Mother Brain just to experiment with something or something like that, it's just like, it's super annoying. So I would say just use the save states, learn everything in a nice, relaxed environment, and then when you're ready to go, just go ahead and do it. So let's load into the end of the Mother Brain fight here. So you'll see that text is scrolling at the top of the screen. You'll see it scrolls character by character, and we're actually going to use that to our advantage because it's a pretty useful visual cue to time your jump into the next room. So, oops, wrong state. So the idea is, see, but right when the word escape appears on screen, you want to go just like a little bit after it's fully appears on screen. It's better to err on the side of being late. If you go a little bit too early, it'll look something like this. So, oh, I actually did that perfectly by mistake. Sorry. So, shoot. The idea is you would fall back to the ground and then you have to jump again. That loses like half a second or whatever. But if you go a little bit late, you only lose like a frame or two. So as you enter the next room, you'll see that all these doors close on you, and there are a bunch of ways to try and get through here, but a lot of them are pretty finicky. So what I would suggest, so if we go back to the first room, you'll see right now I'm just holding the button, the shoot button. Normally this would charge your blaster, but with this rainbow shot or whatever it's called, you'll just fire continuously, and that's actually perfect because that's what you need for the next room. So the idea is you would walk in to the next room while on the ground and just hold the shoot button down and the rub button down, and you'll just blast everything away. So that's what you want to happen there. So just to show you from the start, jump when the text gets to the right point, hold all the buttons, and that's all you need to do to get through that room. It's super easy once you've practiced it, and you won't have any issues there. So let's do it again just so that I can enter the next room. I mean, just before I can stop before entering the next room. So yeah, so let's say I'm here. So when you enter the next room, keep in mind that your position on the next room will depend on where you enter the door. So if you enter where I'm shooting, you'll appear on the left side on the next room. If you just walk barely off this ledge, you'll appear on the right side. And since we want to go back to the right, you want to turn around after falling off this ledge and then head back to the right. Speedrunners are able to fall basically directly down the right side, which will give you perfect results every time, but I don't know exactly how they do it, and frankly, I don't really care. You don't need to worry about those types of my tiny optimizations. So let's say we fall into the next room. What you want to do here is you just want to hold right, take one shot downwards, and then hold right again. That's all you need to do for room number 3. So these rooms are all kind of tied together, so I'm just going to go back to the start. Again, you want to err on the side of being late with your turnaround, because you'll only lose a couple of frames instead of like stopping on the ledge or something. So hold right, shoot down, enter the next room. Let's drop our save state here. So in this room, if you just hold right, you'll bonk your head on this. Personally, I think that's fine. You're not losing much time at all. Just hold right and make it easy, and then run to the end of the room and put in your Shinespark input. You want to be very careful not to do this late. The other tutorial did it way early, somewhere like back here. You don't really want to do that either, because then you're running slower through the rest of this hallway. So what you want to do here is keep an eye on those space pirates up there. So you see this one guy by the entrance, then there's a break, and then you see 1, 2, 3. And then after those 3, that's where the wall is. They're all kind of spaced at the same distance, so they kind of give you a countdown on where to stop. And then you want to stop maybe around here. You want to stop earlier, ideally. It saves a tiny bit of time, and more importantly, it makes it safe, because if you hit this right wall, your run is dead, your Shinespark is lost. So let's go back to the start of this room. So we got that guy, 1, 2, 3, stop there and go. Now you just angle your blaster down, shoot the door open, and hold right. That's all you need to do to enter this next room. And I have to do it again because I forgot to make my save state, sorry. Hard to remember to do that when I'm doing everything else. So go in here, make the save state, and then we're in here. So this is the wall jump room. It has a lot of wall jumps, but you can also do it with absolutely 0 wall jumps without giving up that much time. So if you really don't like wall jumps, what you can do is just jump to that, 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 and go. If you're a speedrunner, in which case you probably don't need this tutorial at all, you probably do like really tight wall jumps like this. I'm not even doing it particularly well, and I'm still screwing it up, but you don't need to aim for that. That's not worthwhile. But the difference between doing this and the strategy I'm about to show you that incorporates some wall jumps is only about like 3/4 of a second to a second, I think. So if you're not comfortable with wall jumps at all, just do that and don't worry about the extra time loss. You have about 6 to 7 seconds of leeway, so if you don't like wall jumps and you feel like it's just gonna mess your consistency up, just try to get everything else right and then skip the wall jumps, because you don't need to do any wall jumps in this room if you don't want to. But if you do want to do some wall jumps, I mean, the best info I can give you is really just practice them. Probably 10 to 15 minutes, just grind out some practice, make sure until you're able to get them basically every time. Of course, that's not very helpful advice. You probably already understand to practice things, so I'll try to give some more actionable advice on top of that. First of all, the basic stuff, you probably already know this, but you can't wall jump if you're not spinning. So you can't just like walk up to the wall and do this. You have to actually spin to the wall and then do the wall jump. Again, you're probably already doing that, but just in case you don't know. The next thing to say is that probably the main reason why I used to mess up the wall jumps a lot was because I was doing like up inputs by mistake. That's not a very good test. But if you see Samus waving around her blaster like this, that means that you accidentally did an up input while you were moving from right to left, and that'll mess up your wall jump. You could also potentially do a down input, depending on how you move your hands. I wish that Space Pirate wasn't over there, he's irritating me, but yeah. That's approximately what it'll look like. If you see Samus waving her blaster around, that means that you need to be more careful about not putting in any up inputs. And I mean, there's a couple strategies you can use to try and avoid that. The first is you can just unmap the up button, well, you would have to map it to something else. Let's say you're using an Xbox 360 controller. You could map the up input to the analog stick. You only need 3 throughout this entire thing. You need to blast open 1 door, and you need the 2 Shinespark inputs. So those are the only 3 up inputs you need. If you can tolerate doing that on a weird button on the control stick or something like that, then that might be an option. A second option is to maybe switch controllers. Personally, I find that Xbox 360 D-pads tend to get wobbly pretty fast, so it makes it hard to go from right to left without accidentally hitting up or something like that. So once I switched to my SES controller, my SES USB controller, the wall jump inputs got a lot easier, but you might not have one of those. So here's probably the best method that'll work for just about everyone. So if you look at my input display at the bottom, you can see when I'm pressing left or right. Those are the only important ones. So you can see Samus will retain her momentum if I just keep as long as I don't press left, she'll just maintain her momentum and hug against this wall. So you can use that to your advantage. You can just hug against the wall, and then when you want to switch directions to do the wall jump, you take your finger off the control pad entirely and then do the wall jump. So that basically eliminates any opportunity for accidentally pressing the up button. It just requires a bit of practice. So probably wouldn't work for speedrunner tier wall jumps, but again, you don't have to be a speedrunner for this. So that's really all there is to say about avoiding the up inputs, but of course there is the timing issue. So obviously the timing for the wall jump inputs is pretty tight as well. So if you look at the animation Samus does when she faces away from the wall, that's about the time period you have. I think it's probably a little bit longer than that animation, but that's close to what you want. So you can't really react to that animation either. Like, I did a space jump there, but I didn't do a wall jump. But you don't want to react because you'll probably do it late and then you'll probably fall off. So instead what you want to do is you just want to kind of get a rhythm to it. So did-a, left and then B. Well, it's B on my controller, but you get the point. Did-a. You personally, I like, the reason why I'm making that sound is because I like to visualize it in terms of the sound. I find that helps me to just perform the consistent inputs every single time. I mean, there's also sort of a mental component to the wall jumps. Like, if you feel like you are behind and you feel like you need to rush, it's very easy to just be like, ah! And so alternatively, if you feel like you're ahead and you really don't want to lose it, you might start to behave weirdly. So just, you want to practice these until you're comfortable just not even thinking about them, so that you're not really that concerned about this room. You're just doing the inputs that you were doing before. So that's really all there is to say about the wall jumps. They save about, if you do all the wall jumps here, they save about 3/4 of a second to a second from the brief testing I did. I didn't exactly TAS it and do a frame-by-frame comparison or anything, but that's the gist of it. So let's just start back here. And then we get up here, run to the right, turn around. Let's just put down a save state here. So in this part, I've heard people recommending in the Retro Achievements comment section to learn Moonfall. Personally, I don't think that's worth your time. I'm not even sure if it saves any time, to be honest, but if it does, it's probably quite small. Maybe it's the other room where it's supposed to save time, the other room where you drop down, but instead of here. But either way, there's not a lot of benefit from learning that, in my opinion. Instead, if you really want to save some time, I would just practice your wall jumps a bit more, frankly. But yeah, for this particular section, if you just walk off, you'll see this guy will usually shoot you. He decided not to ruin my tutorial, but yeah, he's not doing it. But usually he will. So that'll just stop you in midair. You'll take damage, you'll hover there for a moment, and then you'll fall. So to avoid that, what you can do if you want is to, after you gain momentum, just do a small jump. That'll give you some downward momentum once you eventually fall off the ledge. And on top of that, if the guy decides to shoot you, you won't take any damage and you won't be slowed down. So you don't really have to do that if you don't want to, but that was a little bit late. That probably lost time. But here, you want to hold right against this wall, just hug the wall, and just continue holding right as you fall. And then you basically want to jump immediately after you land. So, like this. For this first wall jump, in order to space the next wall jumps correctly, you want to do this first one a little bit fast instead of doing it at the normal timing. I think that's the easiest way to get through this section if you want to do the full wall jump method. What it looks like, you do that first one a little slow, and then you do the first wall jump a little bit fast, and then you do the second 2 wall jumps the same way you would do all the other ones, where you just do them at the peak of your jump. That's kind of the most natural way to do it, even though it's not the fastest. So if you just do that, you'll slip into that tiny gap almost every time. For the third wall jump you do, you kind of want to go back to the left, like double back to the left very quickly, so that you slip into this gap. So let's do this again and go down. So that's what you want it to look like. Then you bonk your head on this guy and land on this platform. And then you can jump up to this platform, and you have a pretty easy way to jump through this gap. So you don't have to do anything tricky there. You just go. And then you continue on with the broom. Now, again, there's multiple ways to do this if you don't want to wall jump at all. You can just do it a straightforward way. So you can just hit that guy, jump up here, jump up here, jump up here, jump up here. You can skip this one. And then this one's pretty easy to do without a wall jump, so you just get in there. Alternatively, if you want to do a sort of hybrid that is a little bit faster but doesn't slip through the gap, you can jump up to there, do exactly 1 wall jump, and then the rest of it becomes pretty simple. Once you get up here, you want to land on like the left side of this. So you want to land on the very left so you can build up as much momentum as possible, and you want to shoot from the left and then shoot the door. Probably should have taken multiple shots there, but whatever. And then you're into the next room. So let's just take this from the top and show it one more time. So do the spin jump down there, land here, hold right, jump immediately, do the wall jump early, get through the gap, hit your head on that, go up here, and go into the next room. Shoot, I did beef that up a little bit. If you lose momentum there, it's actually pretty bad. I should have shot a little bit earlier, but whatever, we'll just do this again. So all right, let's drop our save state there. For the record, using that strategy, using the wall jump list strategy, I think you lose like 1.5-ish seconds, 1.5 to 2 seconds. So again, if you do absolutely 0 wall jumps, I think it was a little over a second. So I think if you do absolutely 0 wall jumps in that room, you probably lose like 2 seconds, which could absolutely be worth the time investment. So let's go over this room now. For this first part, you just want to start by holding right. You'll still have momentum from the previous room, so you'll still be at running speed. You absolutely have to Shinespark here because you're not getting up there fast enough. So you can Shinespark there. I know speedrunners tend to diagonal Shinespark and all that. I just don't feel like it's worth the time to learn, even for myself. I don't even know how, frankly. So in this room, I find this one pretty easy to time. Basically, as soon as you start crashing through the wall, you can press down and you'll probably get a pretty good moment. And it doesn't matter too much if you do it early. Like, even if you do it back there, it's like, okay, you have to run to the other side of the room, but at least you don't lose the run from running into the door. So even if you take it safe like that, you're not really losing much time at all. When you're up here, you can just hold left you can land on this platform. Normally you do it a little bit faster, but I want to say stuff. Then when you're on this platform, you jump up here, and when you're falling, you shoot upwards. That way you shoot the door as you're falling, and then the door will open while you're falling, so you don't have to wait for it to open before you jump. And then, of course, just jump to the next room. It's a little bit faster if you land on the right edge of the platform, but it's not worth going for. I mean, like, it's just because you're a little bit higher up. So, see, like that? And then you're a little bit farther to the right when you're in this room, which is ideal for the strategy I generally tend to go for. So let's just show it again from the start. So that was a little bit less safe, but it still worked. And then we're through. So let's just drop our save state there. This room is, well, if you do it like the speedrunners do it, they do a bunch of crazy wall jumps. I don't even know where, but that's not worth learning for sure. That's pretty precise. So without that in mind, this room just becomes a test of memorization. So you just want to know which platforms to jump to. You definitely want to take the time to memorize this, especially since it's actually not that hard. For me, the pattern I tend to use is saying, okay, 1 jump, 2 jump, and then the 3rd jump is going to be a platform that's off screen. So you would just repeat that 3 times. So it's 1, 2, skip, 1, 2, skip, 1, 2, go. So that's all you need to remember is just 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And for the 1 and 2, you have intuitive platforms, and then you have a couple moments where you have to jump to the platforms that are off screen. Oops, that's the wrong state. At the start, for this first jump, I would recommend, like, you can spin jump up to here, and that's a little bit faster, but it's very easy to like bonk your head on that ceiling or something like that. So personally, I prefer to just run to here, completely stop, wait for Samus to just completely stop. Don't spin, just jump up here and then jump up here. The rest of the jumps, I try to do spin jumps. I think it's a little bit faster. This one requires a spin jump, so you don't quite make it. I was holding the button the entire time there. You don't quite make it. But if you spin, you make it up just fine. So you need to spin for that one. And then you're up here. So this part's probably the most infamous part, because this is the steam part. Generally speaking, if you do the same things, the steam will usually hit you at the same times. There's a little bit of variance, and I don't know exactly what causes it. But in this room, you'll typically hit by 2 steam blasts, and the next room you'll get hit by 1. This, like I said, it can vary. Sometimes you'll only get hit twice, sometimes you'll get hit 4 times. What I would say is, when you're thinking of you're thinking back to your run, it's probably best not to say to yourself, the reason why I lost that run is because I got hit by 4 steam blasts. Like, you probably only lost half a second to a second from that. And keep in mind, you have about 6 seconds, 7 seconds worth of leeway. So it's probably better, in my opinion, well, more productive at least, to say to yourself, okay, I lost that run because I lost 6 seconds somewhere else. Where did that stuff go wrong? How can I fix it for the next time? And like, maybe you need to do more practice. Maybe you didn't remember the strat correctly, but that it's understandable that you're going to make some mistakes like that. But it's definitely best to remind yourself, like, look back at the run and assess soberly, like, what actually went wrong, rather than just pinning it on the steam blasts. Other than that, as for the room itself, it's pretty straightforward. You just hold right. You'll probably get hit by a steam blast somewhere around there. And then when you get to this hill, this upward part, this is where you want to jump. So you would jump to here. Normally you'd have a bit more speed. You don't want to do a super high jump because you'll hit that ceiling, which wastes like a moment. Then when you get over here, when you're about to run off, you want to shoot about here to open the door. That way the door is open by the time you reach it and you have momentum when you go through it. So let's take this room from the top. 1, 2, skip. 1, 2, skip. 1, 2, go. And now we just jump here, shoot the door, go in. And remember to save state this time. Yay. All right. This room looks very, very simple. Do not skimp out on practice for this room because it is very easy to screw this up. So my preferred approach to getting into the ship is like this. So you want to build up speed until you get to this hill. You can jump like basically anywhere from here to where I got hit. And you want to land on the left side of the ship. The reason why I recommend this is just because the ship is always in sight when you're trying to jump to it. You're not going to go like flying way over it and be like, oh no, where to go? You want to just build up speed, do a pretty low jump, not the absolutely lowest jump that you can manage, just a pretty low jump, and then land somewhere on the side of the ship here. And then the next thing you want to do is stop running. This is one of the few moments in this run where you want to stop holding the run button. Just gain normal momentum and then try to stop on the ship. Samus will slide a little bit after you stop moving. So you want to release the button a little bit early. So when you're on that left knob there, I guess I'll call it, somewhere around here, that's about where you want to stop moving. And Samus will park herself somewhere on the ship. So the window to get into the ship is actually pretty small, so here wouldn't work. It's very easy to just go like a little too far and then like do this and then like go into the morph ball and be like, oh, I can't get in, and then just be like this. There's a lot of, if you're panicking, there's a lot that can go wrong here. So you want to practice this room so that you don't do that sort of thing. So go here, try to stop in the right place. I wasn't even close this time. And then wait for just a moment. Even if you're low on time, wait for just a moment, because you'll almost never get into the ship if you just YOLO it. Wait for just a moment, see whether you're in the right place, move left or right, and then press down. Let's take it from the beginning of the room. So, just like that. I nailed the timing there. I didn't have to adjust at all. Let's try it again. That time I had to adjust a little bit. But you see, I stop, I wait, and then I go. Just like that. So you always want to give up just a little bit of time to make sure that you don't give up a lot of time. Even if you're low on, even if you're pretty low, if you're entering the room at like 2 minutes and 1.5 seconds, it's like, even then you should probably not try to YOLO. You should just try to get it right. I don't know exactly where the cutoff should be, but you can lose a lot of time trying to get into the ship. So that's it for the tutorial part. Now I'm just going to take it from the top of the entire thing and show you what it looks like. So hold all the buttons, go into here, hold right to go back to the right side of the room, shoot once down, opens the door for you, then you just hold right, bonk your head. 1, 2, 3. That was a little early, but it's okay. No problem. We go into the door, fall over here. Don't panic on the wall jumps, even though I'm like 20 minutes into the tutorial. Left, hold right, jump here, do that a little early, hit your head, go up here. Okay, good. I got into the door just fine. I was kind of worried about that, to be honest. Shinespark up here. Hold left. Shoot the door as you're falling. Go here. 1, 2, skip. 1, 2, skip. 1, 2, go. We're making good time. Shoot the door open early. I got hit by steam in a weird place. Now we do this, don't panic on the ship, and that was a 206.73. So you see how fast you can go even without doing any advanced tricks. That honestly, that was really good. I am shocked that the run at the end of the tutorial was that good. But there is one more thing that I want to show off, and that's some reset efficiency tricks. So generally speaking, obviously, don't learn to like speedrun Mother Brain, because it's like, invest your effort into speedrunning the thing you actually need to speedrun. But there's a couple of big things you can do to save a lot of time. So I'm just going to go over those. So first off, when I go into here, you'll notice that the barriers they're gone. So that's not just because I loaded from a save state. That is because these barriers stay dead when you save. So you can come into this room, kill all the barriers, and oh look, the glass in front of Mother Brain's gone too. So that also stays dead. So destroy the glass, destroy the barriers. Don't bother doing damage to Mother Brain's first phase, it doesn't stick. But destroy all that other stuff and then go back, refill your energy and health and ammo and save. So as for Mother Brain herself, there's something I want to go over too. So let's say we do a decent job of trying to dodge her. I'm not particularly good at the fight, so I'm not going to do a particularly good job of dodging her anyway. But let's say we at least try to do a decent job. And you'll eventually get her down to low HP. And she will start using her Rainbow Beam attack. And what you're going to notice is that this will take absolutely forever. She's not just going to use that Rainbow Beam once. She's going to keep on using it until my health is basically drained. And then she'll start pelting me with some other stuff when I'm not within range of another Rainbow Beam. So you don't really want to get to this stage of the fight with this much health, because you're basically wasting like a minute just waiting for these Rainbow Beams to go off. So if you've ever seen speedrunners walk into her legs, that's why. So instead of doing this, what I would recommend is just, who cares if you take damage? Just shoot her until until she's at low HP. Just pelt her with missiles. And then if you've still got HP at the end of the fight after doing all that, you can start running into her legs. You're probably, like, I'm assuming if you're coming from retro achievements, you're probably doing this off of a completed save file, like 100%, so you probably have loads of HP. So here, just get down to 3 energy bars, see at the top left, and now this is the perfect amount. You'll get 1 Rainbow Beam, this is mandatory, but it'll knock you down to your last bit of health, and this is where Mother Brain will start charging up for the last Rainbow Beam that will start the cutscene. So that's really all you need to know related to this achievement. Hopefully this makes, hopefully this relieves some of the pain of some of the people who have been trying this for a while, and I'll see you around.